Okay, in this video, I would just like to quickly discuss about how do we find out the number of digits in a square root. That's it. We just want to know that if we are given a perfect square, how many digits will be there in its square root. So let us say that we are given a perfect square which has n digits, which means there is so just let's take an example. Let's say that we are given a number 729. Now you are told that this is a perfect square and the number of digits is 3. So let me just say n equals 3 in this case. We could also take the other example, for example, which we took 4096. So in this case, the number of digits in this is 4. Okay, so we are given a perfect square of n digits. So in this case, n is 3 and n is 4. So we are given this. How do we find out, just without even calculating the square root, how do we find out, or how do we get an idea of how many digits will be there in the square root? Now you can verify the statement that I'm going to tell you, and that would be that we have two cases. In one case, n is odd, that is the number of digits is odd. For example, we have the number 729 example, and the other case is the number of digits is even. Okay, and the example here that we have is 4096. The number of digits n is equal to 4, and this is 729. So when n is odd, let me write down this for you. When n is odd, the number of digits in the square root will be n plus 1 divided by 2. So if I want to find out the number of square digits in this case, so I will take n to be 3 because there are 3 digits. So 3 plus 1 divided by 2 gives me 4 divided by 2, which gives me 2. So the square root of 729 will have 2 digits. Okay, and when n is even, all you have to do is it has to be n by 2. So in this case, n equals 4, which means 4 by 2 gives you 2. Okay, so this is a very useful result just to kind of have an idea of how whether you have got a correct square root or not. Now there is another way to look at this as well. Now when we discussed about the division method, what you did was to make pairs. So in the first step, let's take the example of 4096. So what you did is you put one pair and then another pair. So you can see that there are two pairs over here. So based on this, you can say that there will be 2 digits. Now in this case, 729, how many pairs do you get? Now this is again in relation to the division method that we have discussed in the earlier 2 videos. So what you would do is you would take the pair to be 29, first pair, and then you have this as 7. So in this case also, the bars that you have, there are 2 bars, okay, two sets of numbers. So in this case also, your square root is going to have 2. Now if you remember, the square root for 729 is something that we haven't calculated, and I would encourage you to find out what is the 729 square root of 729 and whether it comes out to be 2 digits or not. For 4096, we already found out that the square root of 4096 is 64. We did find that out in an earlier video. So just a quick note on how do you find out the number of digits in a square root given a perfect square of n digits.